Yeah, it looks like we're on. No music. That was a bit of a distraction. It's almost like I need some assistance there, some easier module to control here as I come live. So, welcome, Jim. Good to have you with us here. We're gonna. I'll wait a second or two there. Welcome, guest. Welcome, partner on the other side. We're getting ready to start. This is episode number 373. It said 372 on the I think on the thumbnail, but it's 373. So welcome, guest, partner. Welcome. This is Your Solution Live. We have Jim with us all the way from Tucson. You're with us. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. And I'm here all the way from Stockton, California. We've got about 45 minutes that are going to fly by like a hypersonic missile out of Russia. So time is going to go by very quick here. So we welcome you to ask your question. Get in, partner, guest, get in, buckle up, turn down all distractions. I've even turned down the music so we can focus, strategize, brainstorm. Soldiers of Self-Mastery Community. All right, turn down distractions, grab a pen. Who knows? Hopefully you invited a friend. At least grab a pen if you didn't invite a friend. And you can write a P.O.I. down, all right? P.O.I. stands for point of interest, not piece of shit. Somebody thought P.O.I. stands for piece of shit. No, it stands for point of interest. All right, number 373. Jim's got some thoughts. I've got some thoughts. We've got a proverb. Hopefully you've got some thoughts on the other side. I hope you're not eating too much chicken, by the way, on the other side. I hope you're not, because I know if you're eating too much chicken, you better check the feathers. You're not coming on here. You're not jumping on the camera like you should. You could support the mission. We'll talk about support later on. So in the arena of PNGZ, that's a great topic, by the way. Don't you guys think so? In the arena of PNGZ. All right, we got a proverb, but Jim's going to give some thoughts. Jim's been thinking about some. Go ahead, Jim. I'll let you share all the way from Tucson, Arizona. So welcome, guest, partner, Mr. Key Van, and those of you that are watching, they're coming on. Ask your question, and gambling is a big fat lie, by the way.
Jim? I was thinking about the the idea of where our mind is, where our thoughts are constantly. You know, is it in the hopeful quadrant, or is it in the hopeless quadrant? Is it in the idea that you have you believe that you will be able to go ahead and overcome your addiction, or you don't? Is it self-deprecating? You know, I think that some of the things that we have to work on is like our thoughts, being conscious of our thoughts. You know, are our thoughts leading us in a direction that we want to go in, right? Just analyzing our thoughts. You know, is it always self-defeating? Is it always saying that I can't do this? I'm moving nowhere. You know, I'm going to fail. You know, analyzing those kinds of thoughts. You know, I was listening to, some preachers, and they were talking about, the idea of where are we putting our attention in our thoughts and what we see out in life? You know, is it on God? Right? I mean, are you seeing, how beneficial, circumstances are that are there to help you in each and every moment? Or is it always negative? Is it bringing up negativity? Always an excuse to go ahead and put yourself down, or put your future down, a reason why you can't move forward. You say that you're weak, you always say that you're weak. I mean, if I mean, like the preacher said, the preacher's talking about, you're not weak, you have God on your side, you're strong, you can go ahead and do anything, right? So where is your mind? Where is your mind and thoughts? I'm thinking about the importance of making that kind of choice. What do I want to go and focus on? Because it's like, you want to go constantly move in the direction that's always making you feel bad and negative, no growth, or you want to go out and try something different. You know, I mean, you can always find a reason why everything is horrible. You can always find a reason, right? And it's easy, right? It's easy to go out and put yourself down that you can't beat your addiction. You know, you just messed up again. What's the point? Um, but how's that going to go ahead and work for you? Like Dr. Phil says, is that going to go ahead and move you in the right direction? Because those thoughts are just going to go ahead and just bring you down. Those thoughts are going to bring you down. And you're talking about
What's going to bring you down? The thoughts,
the negative thoughts, the choices,
or
thoughts that
or
you and put your,
or the are the is the thought itself evil? Is the thought itself strong enough to bring you down, or is there something that you're adding to that?
yeah, I guess as you can say, it's a choice. It's like that deficit mindset. It's that comfort zone of putting yourself down, saying that you can overcome your addiction. It's easy to go ahead and say, I'm just a loser. I can't do this. It's hopeless for me. There is no chance. That's easy. You know, it's comfortable. You know, you're a victim of yourself. Um, but that's kind of like a choice, really. It's what you're focusing on, and maybe
Not
we
the
need to
thought
go ahead
itself.
and
It's not the thought itself necessarily that's going to bring you down. It's the fact that you're 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 putting a magnifying glass
Mhm.
on a thought.
Yeah. How do we choose to look at that thought? How do we go out and I mean, it's like I think throughout our lives we've been programmed, or many people have been programmed to take that thought and just go and blow it up super big, and point it at the person in the mirror. Yep, that's the loser right there. That's the person who can't overcome the addiction. That's the one who has a messed up life and there's no chance. Oh, there's another. You messed up again. You failed. You failed. You went back to your addiction, right? And it's like it's a reinforcement that we can go ahead and choose if we're not careful. You know, it's a
It,
reinforcement.
yeah, it's the reinforcement. It's the reinforcement. Exactly, Jim. We're talking about the arena of PNGZ. What is the arena of PNGZ? Well, you might think it's permanent no gambling zone. Yes, but it's much more than that. Because once you defeat gambling, you begin to see the reality. Isn't that true, Jim? There's always something underneath something that's underneath something else.
Sure, gambling could be, problem gambling, any kind of addiction is I guess you can go and say is just is a symptom of something deeper, right? Something deeper that you can't. It's like we said, it's a comfort zone. It's that place where you go when you don't have when you can't handle your life. You can't handle your life. I mean, like everything's on a spectrum, and people who partake in these kinds of these things, whether it be gambling or eating too much or alcohol, right? Yeah, some people really, really just engorge themselves in that particular deal because they want to escape. It's all about escape. And you know what? When you have a bad self perception of yourself, you know, I think anyone would want to go ahead and try to escape that because it's a horrible feeling. looking at yourself and saying that, you know what, I can't deal with myself. I can't deal with myself, so I need to go and run away to a temporary good feeling place. You know, I mean,
Well, sadly though, Jim, through all of this, some people, a small number, minority, they do some really evil. They create situations that not only hurt themselves, but they hurt a lot of other people.
it's that collateral
And
damage.
yeah, and that's something that we don't think about a lot when we're down the path, we're struggling. You're struggling, man. You're it's hard. You're struggling. Thank God for a community like this one that you can somehow, this seems to come across people. Some of the way it does. So I'm grateful for this community. I'm grateful that we are here tonight, brainstorming, strategizing. What's good for this Monday? What's good for the week? Right? How do you maintain in the arena of PNGZ? What is PNGZ for you? What is it for you? PNGZ for you could be something different than the other person. It's obviously something a little different than it is for me or for Jim. We want to get a little bit further, and I want you to ask questions, folks. If you're here, please ask a question. Challenge us, challenge Jim, challenge me. What are we talking about here? We've already got 12 minutes into this session, and we, by the way, it looks like we didn't get on Facebook. It looks like we are just on YouTube and Twitch. So it's a smaller audience, I think. Not sure. Kevan, Eric, whoever else is in here, I can see a few others that are not Mr. Kevan. Let me get to the proverb real quick, all right? Raymond, there we go. Hello. How long without gambling put someone into PNGZ? That's a great question. That's a good question. We're going to look at that too. And we're going to look at what Jim was talking about when we left off here before the proverb. Didn't forget Jim's thoughts. So welcome, Raymond. We're going to look at this. Negative mirror talk is very dangerous. It's dangerous. Red alert, dangerous. Red alert, dangerous. Yeah. The proverb for today is Psalm 143:10. And again, all of this stuff, a lot of these things that we're talking about has something called sin. Sin is involved in all of this. Sin is involved in our lives. That's one of the reasons why we feel so challenged a lot of the time. It could be the sin in our lives that's causing us to be challenged in some way. I know some people have it so good, they don't worry about sin, right? They're not concerned about sin because they don't know how deep and how dark sin can really be. And most people, when they start hearing about sin, what is sin? Drinking, smoking, gambling, that's not sin. You're having sex, you're watching pornography, you're doing masturbations, that's not sin. That's the effect of sin. When we're beating ourselves down into a pulp, when we're constantly gambling, that's a result of sin. There's a sin somewhere. There's darkness, there's evil. And a lot of that we're not going to be able to control, folks. That's the truth. You're going to be able to control what you can control. So we're limited. We're limited in controlling our lives. We have a limit. We don't have 100%. It would be good. Then we could get rid of the darkness. If I had 100%, I'd get rid of the darkness, man, because that's what trips me up. That's what puts a banana peel in front of me every once in a while. You ever slip on something and smack your head? Didn't crack it open, but you smack your head on the cement backwards? Doesn't feel too good. I've done it, I think, once or twice. I'm glad I didn't hit my head that hard. Anyhow, we'll get back to Jim's thought, and we're going to look at your question here. Psalm 143:10. Teach me, and by the way, this is like a prayer. When I read from the scriptures, it's like a prayer. I don't know if you feel that way, but for me, it's like a prayer. Teach me to do thy will, for thou art my God. Thy spirit is good. Lead me into the land of uprightness. Quicken me, O Lord, for thy name's sake. For thy righteousness' sake, bring my soul out of trouble. And of thy mercy, cut off mine enemies. You know, we think cut off our enemies. Do you have enemies? And I'm not talking about people. I'm not talking about people here. I'm talking about your enemies. Cut off thy enemies and destroy all them that afflict my soul.
You know, when you talk about that, Santos,
I am thy servant.
when you talk about cutting off your enemies, I think about what Eric says. So much of life is watching others accomplish things. You know, it's like there's a big time situation of comparisons that really brings us down. And the enemy is the person, I feel, that is right in the mirror, right? That enemy of person comparing, I should be at this level, I should be doing this, those people are so much better than me, you know, and that kind of negative self-talk and that comparison, you know, is poisonous. There's a lot of poisonous things that we're focusing our mind on. And I ask myself, why do I hang on to that which hurts me? Why do I hang on to these thoughts, these ideas, these perceptions that's so negative and that's poisonous? But over and over, why do I hang on to it like that?
Why do we hang? Why do we hang on to these things?
Yeah.
Why do we hang on to these negatives, right? Why do we hang on to these sinful delicacies?
And what is it? It was
beggarly elements, if you will. Why do we do this? Why is it that we do this? Why is it harder to change? Shouldn't it be easier to change? And,
well,
let me share something real quick with you. You know, when God created, and that's why I enjoy reading the Bible, because a lot of times I look for answers and I don't find them anywhere else, and I find them in the Bible. But I noticed something very interesting when God created Adam and Eve in the garden, or he didn't create them in the garden. He put them in the Garden of Eden. And I'm going to make a very kind of a long story short. He put Adam and Eve but there was something else in the garden. It was something else. It was a test. It was a test in the garden. And they failed the test. They both failed. The woman failed first, and then the man followed suit. So he failed also. And when now, of course, God saw everything that was happening. He could see it all. But it's interesting. He has a conversation with Adam and Eve, almost as if he's catching them by surprise. Like, hey, wait a minute. What did you guys do here? You know, what have you done? Something horrible. The woman said that the serpent deceived her. The man said, a woman that you gave me. So they both were looking outside of themselves. They weren't looking at themselves at all. Did they have that ability to look at themselves and really before that act of defiance where God told them, don't eat of the tree of knowledge, don't eat of the tree, don't eat of that tree, do not partake of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, because you're going to die in the day. He told them. So what I'm getting at is they didn't take responsibility. And that goes on over and over in all of our lives. We're always trying to blame something or blame somebody. It's hard to really look at ourselves and say, you know, damn it. What is it? What do I really want? Or who am I? Who in the world am I? You know, what am I good at? Or what am I doing with my life? What is it that I'm really doing with my life? And you look at all these things, you know, you could be sitting there with crumbs. Just you're turning things to crumbs. You're just crumbling everything, and they're just crumbs all in front of you. A lot of this, and you're bringing up a good point, Jim. A lot of this takes energy. It takes a big a leap of confidence in responsibility to look at the thoughts, to look at what we're saying. Was it Kevan that said something about looking into the mirror? Negative mirror talk, detrimental. So this is one of the reasons why we're in this, and all of that is sin. What Adam and Eve did in the garden, that's sin. Do I completely understand it? I don't. Why would they do it? I don't know why they did what was going on in that arena, that they did what they did. And we're in the same thing. We're constantly blaming other people. We're constantly shifting the focus. We're always looking for somebody, always over here. It's over there. It's this and me. It's the same thing. Same thing. It's only when we, in the arena of PNGZ, it's when we take responsibility to begin looking at who we are, where we are, I guess, where we are and what's important. Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah,
Mr.
I mean, like, who was it? It was Raymond Simmons was talking about how long would without gambling put someone in the PNGZ, permanent no gambling zone.
Responsibility.
I'm
Taking
thinking
responsibility.
when I think about that, I think it's like a person needs to kind of let things go. Like I was talking about, hanging on to these poisonous thoughts and these ideas. I was talking to you earlier about how, these awful negative feelings that we have, anger, anxiety, fear, sadness, depression, is it's what the preacher said. Was that Charles Stanley? So it was a battle of faith. It's a faith battle. I mean, like, believing that you can overcome whatever affects you, or not believing. If you don't have any belief in yourself, any belief that you can overcome whatever you're trying to overcome, you're always going to be in that horrible mindset of the whole world is going to go ahead and collapse around me if I don't hang on to this thing, this negative thing. I mean, it's like forgiving yourself. A lot of people don't want to forgive themselves for messing up. A lot of people hang on to pride, right? I can't reach out for help because what are other people going to say about me? How am I going to look at myself having to go on, a grown man or a grown woman having to ask for help? It's so shameful, you see, hanging on to this stuff. So I got to keep it a secret. I need to go and keep this a secret. I'm trapped. I can't. It's like, let that kind of stuff go. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. It's like, what, I messed up, but you know what? I care about myself. I'm going to go ahead and let this anger that I have about myself, this hatred that I have about myself, go. And I want to go ahead and work on myself. I make mistakes, but I can go ahead and correct things. Let the toxic thoughts go and focus on the good. We were talking earlier before the show about, like,
But the way, again, the way what you're saying is about taking, focusing on the good. Again, it's about, really, it's about more like you're going to have to coerce yourself. And another thing is, when you don't believe in yourself, when you disbelief in yourself, you're taking up thought. Disbelief is thought, I believe. Right? So the opposite is believing. So you're either thinking about the negative, you're focused on the negative, or you're focused on the positive. Am I getting off track there?
Yeah, I mean, like, you can go and perceive anything that happens in your life, one way or the other. I mean, you can have a really bad day, right? But what are you focusing on? There has to be a reason why I'm going through this. I'm learning. I'm getting stronger. I messed up, but
hopefully you're growing through it.
So
growing through it.
That's the thing. It's like we were talking about how we see God, in everything, every event that happens in our life. There's a reason why he is putting this in my life for a reason, and it's a good reason. It's a good reason, and I'm now going to be conscious of it. I'm going to be focusing on, yes, I accept this situation. I embrace it, and I'm going to go ahead and see the good in it so that I can go ahead and move forward. So looking at your life, not in high anxiety, not in severe depression where I have no hope. I have no hope. I do have hope. I am strong, right? When I focus on what I need to focus on,
Mhm.
and that is good. That is the
When
positive.
we
That's the faith, having hope, right? Looking at those kinds of things and moving. It's like this morning. It's like, I get up out of bed. I get up out of bed 3 o'clock in the morning, right? It's like I was given the strength to go ahead and move out of my bed to go and do good work in this world, something positive, instead of saying like, "Oh, woe is me," this sucks. I have to get up, go to work, it's awful. What kind of horrible things, You can go and see the strength that you have inside you. It's like, yeah, I can get up. I'm up. I'm up. I'm out of bed. I'm doing work. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. How do we go ahead and perceive these events? We stop and think, oh my gosh, I got to get out of bed. I am powerful. I can get out of bed. I can go ahead and do work that's meaningful, that's helpful, right? So yeah, what do we choose? I mean, letting go of that fear, letting go of our self-perceived um, uh, negative qualities, letting go of that kind of stuff and just focusing on
I think
focusing
I
on where
think
you want to go.
I think that one good way to do that, one great way to do that is to find, what do you to ask yourself the question, what you're doing right now, the very thing that you're doing, it may be your job, right? You could have a job or you could belong to a hobby, to a community. Is is it making are you serving others? Are you supporting others in some way? Well, I get paid for working. Yeah. When you're working, do you feel like you're supporting others? Are you giving your very best, right? You got to feel like you're supporting others. You got to feel like you're doing something for other people. uh yes, you should work on yourself, obviously, but when you feel like you're supporting other people, like you're doing something that's creating, for instance, somebody called me earlier today and said some words to me, a friend. I wasn't expecting that. It was very, very inspiring to me. Didn't even, now this is somebody that knows me pretty well, but I didn't expect a phone call. And uh it was like, some days you go through stuff. I've got a big thing that I'm trying to do here online, and I'm trying to maintain, you know, what I've got going on. It can be very challenging, folks. That's why I'm kind of grateful to be able to come here to this community, to have this episode and just brainstorm. And I sometimes some of you might think I'm a little hard. Maybe Jim might think I'm a little hard. No, the reason why I do this is because I want to challenge you so that you can challenge me. Because the more that we challenge each other, the best comes out. So that's one of the major reasons why I believe this community here, this program, this episode that we have on Sundays and Wednesdays, if you're a person that's seriously committed, man, we support. And I'm asking you to support, by the way. I'm not just saying this. If you feel supported, that's what we do here. In fact, I put it on the bottom of the screen. I'm not going to say, well, somebody said, I get a few donations here and there. Sometimes I get a few donations. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and say that we get a bunch of money. No, we get donations. Somebody donated $50 the other day. Young man by the name of Raymond. I don't think it's Raymond Simmons. I'm not sure, but the person's name was Raymond. $50 donation. I should have put it on my. So whenever we get donations and stuff like that, we usually post it. We want to give people a chance to they can get a tax deductible contribution for giving. So whether you give $1, $5, $10, if it's taking it from the casino, good. Put it into this mission, put it into this system, support us as we support you, as we support others. You're giving, and that ought to make you feel it kind of makes you feel more confident to me. So speaking about how long it gets you to get into the PNGZ, maybe we took a long time to answer that question, but the truth is it's just a matter of decision. Right? It's a matter of looking at who you are and where you are. Where am I? Where in the fuck am I? Pardon my vanilla. Where in the fuck am I? What am I doing? And that's the reality, right? When you can't be like Eve. Well, the serpent deceived me. The serpent did it. And I find myself pulling that crap too. The serpent did it. No, I did it. I made a decision. Well, why? I don't know why. Maybe it was the darkness of sin in me, right? Adam. Well, God, the woman you gave me, God, Eve, she gave me of the fruit and I ate. Doesn't say what kind of fruit. It was the fact that they disobeyed. They were both blaming God. Basically, that's what they were doing. They were shifting the blame to the serpent. Adam shifted the blame to the woman. And what were they? Who created the man? Who created the serpent? Who created the woman? The man. Who? God. So in essence, they're saying, you know what, God, you screwed up. I messed up because of you. But that's not the way it is. That's not the way. The Bible very clear on that we have the responsibility to ask God and to ask him for mercy. We may not understand. We may not agree. I've been going through something for 25 years, right? Somebody might say, well, if God has you there, like Jim said, you said that earlier, God has you going through that path. Ask, seek, and knock. Ask, you shall receive. Knock, and the door shall be opened. Seek, and you shall find. The Bible teaches.
Yeah, Santos. One of the things that I encourage people to do is focus on a noble goal. And I think a noble goal is taking care of yourself. And how do you set this up? For me, I'll give you an example. It's like I set up I guess a running competition. I guess I signed up for a run, a 10K today. This was a little while ago, and since it was so long ago, I didn't train, you see, but it came up, and I said, oh geez, I need to go ahead and focus on getting ready for this run. So on Friday, I started thinking about my diet. I started thinking about my exercise and being ready for this run today. And when I did do my run or my training on Friday, I felt better, so much better about myself as far as feeling, anxiety, getting rid of all those negative thoughts. I had a sense of calm, the exercise, right? And when you exercise, you are actually improving your life.
What is it that you're doing, Jim? The exercise. What is actually happening when you exercise?
When I exercise, I make a decision. I make a decision. I commit. I commit to doing something that doesn't feel that good, but I'm going to go ahead and get up. It's like a choice. It's like a decision. Who was it? It was Raymond talking about
Now, why would you make that decision? Why would you do that? Why?
Because I imagine something better in my future. I imagine feeling better. I imagine accomplishing something for myself.
There's a result from what you're doing
right.
that you particularly want to have, you want to experience. Is that?
And the thing is that your mind starts getting organized. It starts getting organized, and it starts being more conscientious about the choices that you're making in life. Is
Yeah.
this a good thing to do? Is this a bad thing to do? Should I do this? Should I not? And you see, if you don't have a goal, you just go ahead and you just go ahead and get blown by the wind, whatever feels good, right? But you have something in the future that you're shooting for, that you're being held accountable for. You're holding yourself accountable. The event, that deadline is holding you accountable, right? And it kind of nudges you, pushes you in that place where you need to go ahead and stop and think about the choices that you're making in life, right? It's like, why am I doing this? There's a reason for it, right? And if I can go ahead and do the good things, the other stuff, the bad stuff, I'm going to go ahead and let it go, because I know that there's something important that's coming in my future.
So there's something very special about that result. There's something in particular about that result that you really find satisfying, Jim. There's something, maybe it's not one thing, it could be a combination, right, of two things or whatever, but there's a result that you're after. The result of the bodybuilder is to get stronger and build more fiber, build more muscle. So he works hard on his diet and height, even doesn't drink water for several days to get on stage. That's crazy. I don't know if you're aware of this, but they dehydrate themselves to go on stage after training for 6 months or a year. It's crazy what these bodybuilders do. And I've learned a little bit, but it is true what you're saying, Jim, about exercise. And I believe that I maybe I wasn't clear on the question that I was asking. What happens during exercise? There's some chemical. There is you're experiencing some kind of change inside when you're exercising, and there is instant change when you start getting blood flow. There's a pump. There's instant change that you actually feel. There's a result from that. So, but again, in order to be able to achieve those kinds of things, there's some work involved. There's something that you have to commit to. You can't be afraid of growing, not going through. We go through things all the time. I don't want to go through things. I want to grow. GROW. How about you on the other side? Does that make sense, Jim?
Yeah,
Does it make sense to what we're trying to make sense of? Again, it really, it's about change, right? There's many. I don't want to confuse the matter here, because we're talking about in the arena of PNGZ, and yes, it is a mindset. I don't believe it takes 6 months to get into the arena of PN. I believe it's a mindset. Like, you decide, okay, I'm going to live in the permanent no gambling zone. Maybe you're not a gambler at all. You don't even go to the casino, but you come across and you hear that term, I'm going to live in the PNGZ. What does that mean for you? Maybe that means becoming a king for your family because you're a young person. Maybe that means becoming more of a queen for your family because you're a young lady starting to bring children into a little tribe. I don't know. It could be having to do with your business. It could have to do with your job. Or maybe you're thinking about starting a business, or you're starting a career, right? What is it? PNGZ. It's easy. Permanent no gambling mindset. That's just a discipline. It's a discipline. It's like MMPC, mind, mouth, power, congruency. It's like talking in the mirror to yourself positively, right? The more you do it, you don't want to talk negatively to yourself in front of a mirror. That's very dark. That could be demonic. Because I don't know if you ever done it. Stare yourself in the eyeballs in front of the mirror. That's a very, very interesting experience. If you haven't done it, try it. Go get in front of a mirror and look at your eyes and say something to yourself while you're staring at yourself. All right, Jim, we're coming down. Wow, we're coming down to the wire. Listen, folks, if you enjoy the podcast, please support the mission. There's a lot of folks that need to hear this. There's a lot of folks that need to hear what we're saying, what we have, this community, this 45 minutes, 50 minutes that we have on Sundays. Young gamblers, casino gamblers, bettors, school students, housewives that are at home gambling while their husbands are out in the making money. So help me, help us, help this mission. If it's in your heart to support and to do things, I don't care if you send $1. I don't care if you send $10, $5. I don't care if you send, well, I do care, of course, send $1 million. Share, leave a comment, subscribe to the mission, turn your notifications to all. It's all support. And I'm pushing as much as I can, but I think we're having some issues with YouTube. I'm not sure, man. I know that sometimes they want to silence people, and they'll do it. There's a ways of silencing people that are too loud or maybe too bright in some way or causing some disruption in some sector in the business world. That's the truth. So who knows? Just remember, if I ever disappear, what kind of a thought would I like to leave you with? 2 thoughts. If I ever disappear and you don't ever see me again, pray and read the Bible. I guess those would be the best thoughts that I could leave you with. Yeah. So anyways, we are coming down to the call to action. We're coming down to the call to action. I want to thank all of you guys that are here. Appreciate those of you. We wanted to reach out through Facebook, LinkedIn, didn't work. Twitch, YouTube. So this was episode number 373. I'm going to give Jim an opportunity here. If you have, you have another question here. I'm going to let Jim get on that. How do you overcome laziness there, Jim? Yeah, I know you got a thought. Maybe exercise clears your brain and thoughts.
Yeah, overcoming laziness, it's basically a decision that you have to go ahead and kind of like nurture and cultivate in your mind. It's like a seed, that you kind of encourage to go and sprout, and then you get a strange kind of feeling in your mind, kind of an optimistic, your imagination starts kind of like causing it to grow, and your confidence starts growing a little bit. He says, I can go and do this. I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to go and do this, and, it's like a choice. Eric was talking about how, he works on like F-16s, and it feels like war profiteering. And I want to go back to all our actions that that involve, our work, the things that we do, the things that we think about. Everything has a positive purpose for us if we choose to go and think that. Why do we work? We work to serve, right? Who do we serve? We serve the community, we serve others, we serve ourselves. Even if you think your job is mundane, even if you think, your job is not, beneficial to the world, you are developing discipline. You are doing things that build yourself in spite of the fatigue, despite of the difficulty of life. You go ahead and do it and do it and do it over and over again, right? That builds up your character, right? And maybe you won't stay in that position or doing that work all the time, but you see, you are building yourself up so that when it's time to go and change, you're that much stronger, you're that much better. And that's serving yourself, and that's serving other people. And when you think about, how you choose to go out and figure out your thoughts, what are the thoughts that you're choosing to go and think about? How do you choose to see yourself, right? It's a discipline. We talk about exercise. It's hard at the beginning, but the more you do it, you're going to go ahead and find success, and it's going to go ahead and grow that seed. You're going to go ahead and you're going to go and say, it's like, wow, I can get this thing done. I am seeing victories. I have the ability to go and let go of all these negative thoughts. I don't have to go ahead and live in this poisonous, this mindset, you know? So yeah,
And you're not going to escape all of it, right? We know we're not going to escape it. There's always going to be these things. So it would be cool if we could do it 100%. You know what I mean, Jim?
mm-hmm.
Wouldn't it be cool if you can just be positive all the time? You know, have a super fantastic, terrific, over the top mindset in spite of and because of. You can have a positive mindset, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to grieve. You're going to go through shit, man. You're going to make bad decisions. You're going to fuck yourself up. Pardon my language, but it's the truth. You're going to do it to yourself. But as long as you've got a good mindset, you belong to a good community like this one, where you can be reminded your good life is going to come out of a good series. You guys ought to know this by now. Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. Well, some things might take 5 years to stick. Something might take 1 hour. There's always room for improvement within room for improvement. Train your brain so that your brain will train you. Because if you don't train your brain's going to train you. So if you don't want your brain to train you, train your brain. Santos, that's a little play on words. Kinda. There's my rap. I like to do poems and raps and different things. I'm not the best at it. I just joke, poke. Anyways, we'll leave it there before I have a stroke. Hopefully I'll never have one of those online here in front of you. Have you guys turn blue. All right, Jim, last words. We're looking for one more comment. I want to thank all of you guys. Sugar Bear, I have no idea what you're talking about. I think I do. I don't know if this person here, this Sugar Bear person, is being a little...
He's talking about blackjack.
Oh, I thought he was talking about something else. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm looking at those numbers, 69, BJ, and you're all right. So, Mark, thanks for hanging. By the way, yes, the new edition is out, man. Well, I just got back from Cephas that it's out, and it's back on Amazon. So, yes, it's still the same book. It's a little bit different on the front. The back is different. Got a little bit of some more people that said, hey, this book is worth reading, at least taking a good look at. A couple people in the back. And there's some more info in there. I'm telling you, I think if you get this new version that's supporting the mission, by the way, and it makes a great gift, I believe you're going to like this version. And if you don't like it, when you're reading the text, cross it out and put your own in there. Make it yours. All right. So my call to action, and then I'm going to give Jim a minute here to close shop, because we've just landed the, let me see. Today it will be a jetliner. What's a good airplane? What's a nice big airplane, Jim? Do you know?
Eric works on F-16s.
That's a big one. It's landed. We've been on that one floating high. We're landing now. So my call to action basically is, listen, folks, if you're struggling, I'm offering a free complimentary strategy session. Yeah, you get to sit with me. We get to eyeball to eyeball, mano a mano. All jokes aside, it's a strategy session to help you find your step that you need, or some inspiration, or some idea, or some accountability. Yes, it's only one time, but it's going to be a powerful session at that. And other than that, I'm going to recommend to read the Bible, find some good material to focus on, do some reading. Don't give up on your reading. Find some good material to read. Always try to read. Even if it's your own deed, what you put in the PNGZ, your journal. I could have had a V8. Anyways, I'm thinking about a triple burger wrapped in lettuce with a nice slice of lemon. Not lemon, onion. There we go. Some light pickles. Yeah. So I'm distracted. I apologize for that, folks. Anyways, go ahead, Jim, and then we'll close shop. Want to thank all of you guys. Wow, we've had a big number tonight. This has been a good podcast. I hope that you guys are getting something out of it.
Yeah, I looked up one of those good Bible deals, Philippians 4:8. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report. If there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think of these things. So think about how God is always acting in your interests in every situation, right? Keep your thoughts holy, right? Keep your thoughts positive, right? Keep your thoughts of faith, optimism, right? And then just be conscious of that so that you can go ahead and move towards that better direction in your life.
There you go, folks. We've been here over 45 minutes. Been a powerful podcast, number 373. I know I said 372 on the thumbnail. I think I did. But anyhow, you guys know. I hope you walk away with a good POI. So we'll be back here again, Lord willing. I believe we'll be back here on Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Wednesday. Partner, guest, you're welcome. And then we'll be back on Sunday. With that said, let's make America great again by making your life great again. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Santos. Have a great week. See you on Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Mr. Kevan, Barry, Bob. Who was that? It was Laura. Didn't I see Laura? I saw Mr. Kevan, Mark, Barry, Bob. There was quite a few of you guys on here. Sugar Bear. Eric, Raymond, Mr. Kevan. There's Laura. Nathan. And who else? There was a few others you didn't show on the in the feed. So thank you guys. Let's do this.